For decades, we've been told what to fear. Sugar, acid, the relentless foods that decay and destroy. We brush, we floss, we fight a defensive war against our own diet. We operate under the assumption that our smile is always decaying, and our only job is to slow the inevitable loss. But what if the key to a stronger smile wasn't just about avoidance? What if one of the world's oldest, most familiar foods was secretly rebuilding our defenses from the inside out? The wisdom we seek often lies hidden in plain sight, disguised as something commonplace or even contradictory. We think of health in terms of subtraction, what we must eliminate, but true wisdom often reveals profound acts of addition. The science is clear, yet it remains one of health's most underutilized secrets. Over the next hour, we will move past the myth of inevitable dental decline and explore the exact science, history, and practice behind the one food linked to active tooth remineralization. This isn't about fleeting cosmetic changes. This is about preserving a foundational element of your health and longevity. Your smile is the gateway to your overall well-being. Keeping it strong is not vanity. It is the ultimate expression of biological wisdom. To truly understand the protective power of this single food, we must first understand the battlefield, your mouth. Most people simplify decay as merely sugar rotting a hole in the tooth structure. The reality is far more subtle and relentlessly biochemical. Every time you eat or drink, your mouth's pH balance shifts. When you consume acids, from soda, coffee, citrus, or even the byproducts of sugary digestion, the pH in your mouth drops sharply below the critical threshold of 5.5. This drop triggers demineralization. It is a precise scientific process where acid leaches essential minerals, specifically calcium and phosphate, directly out of the tooth enamel. Think of your tooth enamel like meticulously laid ceramic tile. It is incredibly hard, but it is not perfectly solid. It is porous at a microscopic level. Every acid attack creates microscopic pits and weaknesses on the surface. If this constant cycle of acid exposure and mineral loss continues unchecked, those tiny, invisible pits eventually deepen, leading to the formation of cavities we dread. But here is the critical piece of information often overlooked. Your mouth has a powerful, inherent ability to fight back. Your saliva is designed by nature to neutralize acid and provide necessary minerals, creating a constant attempt at self-repair. This critical repair process is called remineralization. It's a constant, microscopic tug-of-war happening constantly inside your mouth. Our modern dietary habits, unfortunately, have stacked the odds overwhelmingly against this natural healing process. We are consuming highly processed, acidic, and sugary foods far more often than any previous generation. We graze and snack throughout the day, constantly keeping our mouth in the danger zone, that low pH environment where enamel dissolves fastest. Our saliva, our natural defense system, simply cannot keep up with this relentless barrage. This state of constant depletion is what leads to the profound increase in dental problems we see as people age. But what if we could dramatically boost the rebuilding power of our saliva? What if we could introduce a nutritional shield that not only instantly neutralizes the acid, but provides a massive, targeted influx of the exact building blocks needed for repair, delivered precisely when the tooth requires them most? That is the profound potential we explore today. We are looking for a practical, natural intervention that rapidly restores the balance, reinforcing the foundational strength of the enamel. Finding wisdom means finding leverage, a simple, consistent action with powerful, disproportionate results for long-term health. If you are seeking actionable ways to deepen your understanding of health, aging, and longevity, please subscribe and ring the bell. We cut through the noise every week to bring you the insights that truly matter. Now, let's reveal our counterintuitive protector. The food that actively shifts the balance from decay to repair is aged natural cheese. Wait, Cheese, the food often relegated to the realm of indulgence or perhaps just a mild source of fat, is actually one of the most potent natural defenses against tooth decay known to modern science. This discovery thoroughly challenges decades of simplified, often fear-based dietary advice. For too long, nutrition has been categorized simply as good or bad. Wisdom demands nuance. Cheese is not simply a source of calcium. It is a complex, biologically optimized delivery system engineered by nature to protect and strengthen teeth. The scientific evidence began emerging decades ago in longitudinal studies, noting a compelling inverse relationship. Individuals who regularly incorporated aged cheese into their diet, especially older adults, tended to have significantly lower rates of decay, fewer instances of root surface erosion, and generally superior periodontal health. The initial hypothesis focused merely on the raw calcium content, but the protective effect proved to be far stronger and more complex than calcium alone could explain. The true protective power of aged cheese comes down to three synchronized factors: buffering, delivery, and shielding. We must understand exactly how this sophisticated food works at the molecular level to appreciate its profound impact. First, buffering. Cheese consumption causes an immediate and significant rise in the pH of the dental plaque. Studies show that the act of chewing a small piece of cheese for just a few minutes following the end of a meal can neutralize residual acid almost instantly. This rapid pH rise pulls the mouth out of the critical danger zone, halting the demineralization process. It acts like an instantaneous emergency brake on enamel erosion. This powerful buffering capability is far superior and lasts longer than the effects offered by many other foods. Why rely on slow, passive neutralization when you can activate an aggressive, rapid response?
Second, delivery. Teeth desperately require calcium and phosphate to engage in the necessary work of remineralization. These two minerals are the critical components, the mortar and brick, for repairing enamel. Cheese is indeed packed with calcium, but the true brilliance lies in how it delivers it. The calcium and phosphate are strategically encased within the complex protein structure of cheese, specifically the long chains of casein protein. Casein is the true hero in this process. When you chew and digest cheese, casein releases these essential minerals in high concentration and, crucially, in a highly bioavailable form, meaning the body and the saliva can easily absorb and utilize them for immediate structural repair. This mineral complex is then absorbed directly into the plaque layer covering the tooth, establishing a rich, immediate mineral reservoir directly on the tooth surface. Instead of relying solely on the slow, often inadequate trickle of minerals from existing saliva, you provide a targeted, powerful nutritional blast precisely where the repair is needed. This targeted infusion allows the dental tissue to grab the necessary building blocks and actively repair those microscopic acid lesions created by the previous meal. Third, shielding. Casein proteins also possess unique binding properties that allow them to adhere to the tooth surface, creating a protective film known as the pellicle. Think of this temporary layer as a natural, microscopic raincoat for your teeth. This specialized pellicle prevents new colonies of pathogenic bacteria from strongly adhering to the enamel surface, thereby disrupting the formation of sticky, damaging, acid-producing plaque. It is a proactive defensive barrier that goes beyond mere chemical buffering. By neutralizing the destructive acid, supplying the necessary repair material, and creating a temporary protective barrier, aged cheese delivers a powerful trifecta for comprehensive oral health. The profound wisdom of this solution lies in its accessibility and its historical validation. Cheese-making practices stretch back thousands of years. Long before the invention of modern dentistry, ancient cultures were consuming this food, intuitively preserving their structural health through their staple diet. Aged cheeses such as sharp cheddar, aged Gouda, or firm Parmesan were common in diets where tooth decay, particularly among older individuals, was statistically far less severe than in the highly processed, refined, and sugary environment we are forced to navigate today. This is not a fleeting new breakthrough. It is a vital rediscovery of traditional knowledge, robustly validated by modern, cutting-edge nutritional science. To harness this wisdom, we must focus on practical application, starting with the aging process itself. Why specifically aged cheese? The fermentation and aging procedures concentrate the casein proteins and intensify the mineral complexes, dramatically increasing the efficacy of the nutritional delivery system. While all natural cheeses offer some marginal benefit, harder, aged varieties consistently prove to be the most protective due to their higher concentration of these key protective components and their firmer texture, which further stimulates salivary flow. Saliva, we must remember, is the body's primary, constant, natural repair mechanism. A simple domino-sized piece of aged cheddar or a sliver of Swiss provides maximum targeted benefit. Now, let's consider the crucial systemic implications. Why should we invest so much focus on our teeth beyond simply avoiding a painful cavity? Our channel, Primetime Wisdom, is dedicated to exploring the elements of true longevity, and here the oral systemic connection is unassailable. The mouth is not merely an entry point for food. It is a primary indicator and, critically, a massive source of chronic inflammation. Periodontal disease, or chronic gum inflammation, is a pervasive health issue. When this inflammation is consistently present, it releases powerful inflammatory markers, known as cytokines, directly into the bloodstream. These markers do not remain localized. They circulate throughout the body, significantly contributing to the overall systemic inflammatory load. Systemic inflammation is now recognized as one of the single greatest accelerators of virtually all age-related chronic diseases. It contributes to cardiovascular problems, complicates chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes, and emerging research suggests it's linked to increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia later in life. By reinforcing the structure of our teeth and gums through this simple, targeted nutritional strategy, we are actively and continuously reducing the inflammatory load on our entire system. When you consume foods that rapidly buffer acid and reduce the proliferation of pathogenic bacteria in the mouth, you are not merely preserving enamel, you are actively stabilizing the biochemical environment of your entire body. Aged cheese may help reduce the levels of bacteria associated with severe gingivitis, consequently helping to lower the body's overall chronic inflammation levels. This represents a profound leverage point in the pursuit of lasting health and longevity. Think of it this way: dental health is not an expensive luxury. It is a vital, ongoing investment in your systemic resilience. The wisdom here is understanding that a small, highly consistent dietary choice can have immense downstream effects on the health of your heart and brain decades into the future. We are not just building a legacy for our finances or our family, we are actively building a biological legacy of structural health for our future selves. But how do you seamlessly integrate this powerful tool into your established routine? The timing is absolutely critical to maximizing the benefit. The most effective time to consume this food is immediately following the conclusion of a meal, particularly one that included highly acidic or sugary components, which is most modern meals. By chewing a small, measured piece of aged cheese for 1 to 2 minutes after eating, you maximize the trickle action simultaneously. The mechanical chewing vigorously stimulates high-flow saliva production. The casein delivers the concentrated mineral load, and the chemical structure rapidly elevates the pH, neutralizing the lingering acid left behind by the meal. This is a simple, powerful ritual, a natural, proactive way to end any meal that reverses the decay process before it can fully establish itself. It becomes a conscious, daily act of microprotection. Could this small habit be the easiest anti-aging intervention you adopt this year?
We must also proactively address the most common concerns and constraints our audience may have. Many individuals hesitate due to concerns about fat content or potential issues with lactose intolerance. Regarding fat content, while cheese is calorically dense, the quantity required for the maximum dental protective effect is consistently very small, a single ounce or less, used as a medicinal agent rather than a primary food source. The undeniable health benefits gained from neutralizing destructive acid and supporting remineralization overwhelmingly outweigh the negligible calorie contribution, especially when consumed as a targeted protective strategy. For those actively managing cholesterol or calorie intake, choosing lower-fat hard cheeses, such as specific varieties of Parmesan or aged Grana Padano, still provides the vital casein and concentrated mineral content necessary for achieving peak protection. Regarding lactose intolerance, this is an important distinction. Aged hard cheeses, such as aged cheddar, Parmesan, and Swiss, naturally contain very little to no lactose. The majority of the lactose sugar is broken down and converted into lactic acid during the initial culturing and subsequent aging process. Therefore, these highly protective cheeses are generally extremely well tolerated, even by individuals with significant lactose sensitivity. This means the best, most potent options for powerful oral protection are typically also the safest options for sensitive digestion. The final piece of practical wisdom is the necessity of consistency. The greatest, most profound benefit is realized not from sporadic use, but from establishing this small ritual faithfully after your main meals. It becomes a consistent routine, a necessary act of micro-repair that compounds relentlessly over decades. Just like compounding interest in a retirement account, these small, consistent mineral deposits eventually translate into profound structural resilience that endures. We have explored the modern threat of demineralization, introduced the unparalleled power of casein and targeted mineral delivery, and, crucially, linked this simple action to a wider, powerful systemic health strategy. The initial promise was that this food could help actively rebuild your teeth. The evidence confirms that aged cheese provides the immediate, concentrated building blocks, calcium and phosphate, in the most bioavailable form, meticulously paired with the necessary rapid pH correction to allow your enamel's natural repair process, remineralization, to function at its absolute peak performance. It is the natural, time-tested engineering solution to a complex dietary problem. But the real transformation achieved by this wisdom goes deeper than mere tooth enamel. It is fundamentally about taking back conscious control of your health narrative. It is about understanding that simple, accessible wisdom, not expensive, unattainable interventions, is often the most potent tool for engineering a well-lived life. The decision to incorporate this wisdom is a deep commitment to foundational, long-term health. It is a decision to stop fighting a purely defensive, losing battle, and instead start actively and consistently reinforcing your biological structure. This foundational knowledge is not presented as a replacement for daily brushing or regular professional dental care, but it is a powerful nutritional support system that works in critical partnership with your existing hygiene habits. It dramatically enhances the benefits of fluoride toothpaste and other hygiene measures by flooding the teeth with the exact raw materials they urgently need to self-heal. We encourage you to experiment with this small, conscious ritual immediately. Choose a high-quality aged cheese, something hard and firm. Keep a small, easily accessible container of pre-cut cubes in your refrigerator and commit to eating one tiny piece after your most acidic or sugary meal of the day for just 2 weeks. Observe the difference. Notice the feeling of intense cleanliness and the absence of that sharp post-meal sensitivity. This direct, tangible feedback is your personal proof of science in action within your own body. Primetime wisdom is built on the core principle that profound knowledge shared leads directly to a better future for everyone.
If this deep dive into the science of nutritional resilience has fundamentally shifted your perspective on oral health and longevity, please take a moment to like this video. Liking the video tells the platform's algorithm that this vital, evidence-based wisdom is worth sharing with thousands of other people who are seeking a better, more powerful way to age gracefully and strongly. The journey toward a resilient, vibrant life is paved with small, consistent, conscious choices. Today, you learned that one of the simplest, most familiar foods can be one of your most powerful biological allies. Use this deep wisdom, commit to these tiny acts of consistent repair, because the greatest legacy we can build is one where our functional health lasts powerfully as long as our years. We are not just getting older, we are getting wiser.